I returned from a peaceful weekend camping trip, 3 days of blissful silence, forest air, and no signal, only to find an SUV parked squarely in the middle of my driveway. Not off to the side, not angled in, as if someone had mistakenly thought it was public property. No, it was dead center, nose to garage, as if the driver genuinely believed the slab of concrete I paid property taxes on now belonged to them. Taped to the windshield was a glittery pink note. "Thanks to the spot," it said, followed by a flourish of a name. HOA Queen Candace. I stood there blinking. At first, I thought it was a joke. A prank from teenagers. Maybe someone's guest had too many mimosas and got disoriented. But the handwriting was too neat. Too purposeful. The kind of handwriting that always includes little hearts over every lowercase I. That was the moment I realized this wasn't a mistake. It was a declaration. I wasn't dealing with a simple parking mishap. I was dealing with a full-blown, entitled suburban incursion. And Candace Meadows had just declared war on the wrong neighbor. Candace lived 2 houses down. She was the self-appointed queen bee of Willow Creek Estates, president of the HOA, a position she ran for unopposed and still campaigned aggressively for, and the kind of woman who measured her self-worth in the number of violations she could issue before brunch. Her hair never moved, her lipstick was always coral, and she wore a visor like a crown. I knocked on her door. She answered wearing a robe that probably cost more than my car insurance, sipping a green smoothie like it was her birthright. "Oh, that's yours?" she said, feigning surprise. "My garage is filled with wedding decor for Madison's reception. You know how hard it is to prep for these things. And my driveway's too steep for guests. Yours was just more level." I asked when she planned to move the car. She smiled tight, triumphant, and said, "It's not that serious, is it?" Then she closed the door in my face. Day 1, I left a friendly note on the windshield, reminding her that it was private property. She didn't respond. Day 2, I called the non-emergency police line. They said it was a civil matter since it was a neighbor's vehicle. I need to go through HOA channels or small claims court. Right. Day 3, I missed a morning meeting because I was blocked in. That night, I parked on the street. Got a ticket. 2-hour limit. HOA rule. Go figure. Day 4, I came home to find pink flamingo lawn ornaments circling the SUV on my lawn. Candace called it wedding ambience. Day 5, I filed formal complaints. Try to have it towed. The driver arrived, saw her standing in front of the SUV, screaming about emergency overflow allowances, and left. I tried waiting her out. She bragged to a neighbor that her friends thought it was innovative. By day 6, I'd exhausted every peaceful avenue. I had done the adult thing, the reasonable thing. But on day 7, I snapped. I woke up to the sound of a brunch party happening on my front lawn. A pink canopy stretched across my flower bed. Women laughed and sipped mimosas around the SUV like it was a centerpiece. Candace waved at me like I was the hired help. I didn't yell, didn't argue. I turned around, made coffee, and whispered to myself, "It's time for mini golf." The idea came fully formed. If she wanted to treat my driveway like public space, then I'd make it the most inconvenient, ridiculous public space she'd ever seen. Hole 1, behind the SUV's rear bumper. Hole 2, around the driver's side. Hole 3, a ramp that bounced the ball off her rear tire. I'd fill it with garden gnomes, inflatable crocodiles, and tiki torches. Each hole would have a theme: passive putter, Karen's complaint cave, parking violation parkway. I call my twin nephews, Max and Jordan, 12-year-olds with Nerf guns, ADHD, and zero chill. They were at my place within the hour, hauling cones, noodles, and a putting mat. By sundown, we had a layout. Fairy lights strung between yard stakes. A plastic banner across her hood. "Welcome to Candace's Complaint Creek." I hadn't broken a single law. No damage. No vandalism. Just creative use of my own land. If she wanted an audience, she'd get one. Tomorrow, when she opened her front door, she wouldn't be facing a driveway. She'd be teeing off at hole 1. And I hadn't even started the real revenge. At 8:12 the next morning, Candace stepped outside in full battle gear sun visor, clipboard, boss lady mug. She rounded the corner and froze. For the first time, she was speechless. The turf, the gnomes, the inflatable gatorette was all too much. Her SUV was caution taped into the middle of the course, complete with a sign reading, "Unauthorized parking obstacle." She finally hissed, "What is this? Mini golf?" I said cheerfully. "Neighborhood beautification. Like your flamingos." "You can't do this," she snapped. "Pretty sure I can. It's my property. Your car's the decor. I'm calling the HOA. Better hurry. Hole 4 opens at 10. I also bake muffins." Max and Jordan appeared in matching visors. "Uncle Nate, we're low on scorecards," Max said, wielding a clipboard. Candace stormed off. That morning, word spread. I posted a photo to the Willow Creek Community Facebook group. Driveway drama turned putt-putt party. Come test your short game. By noon, families were showing up. Teens brought actual putters. Glenn, an old guy from down the street, claimed he once won a neighborhood tournament in 1986. He lined up at hole 2 like he was back on the PGA Tour. Candace emerged again, red-faced and clutching a manila folder. "This is a safety hazard. An obstruction. You parked on his driveway," Glenn said without looking up. "If anything, your car's the hazard." She retreated again. Around 2 o'clock, her husband, Ron, shuffled over in socks and sandals. He leaned in and whispered, "Thanks for speeding up the garage clean-out." Then he grabbed a club and played. When he sunk a shot off her bumper and into the hole, the crowd roared. Candace screamed into the sky. By that evening, my driveway was more popular than the local park. Kids ran lemonade stands. Jordan charged 50 cents to challenge for the Candace Cup, a trophy made from a plastic bowl and glitter tape. The HOA board president, Marvin, showed up the next morning after I invited him with a very official-sounding letter. He blinked when he saw the sign, "Karen's Complaint Creek Community Golf Experience." Candace marched out, folder in hand, and screamed, "This is harassment." "Candace," Marvin said calmly, "your car has been illegally parked for a week." "I was borrowing the space." "For 7 days?" Marvin shook his head. "That's not borrowing. That's occupation." And just like that, the tide turned. The final blow came in the form of a cease and desist letter badly typed, riddled with grammar mistakes, and signed Rob Meadows, ESQ. I Googled him. He sold insurance and once studied for the LSAT. That was it. I knocked on her door, letter in hand. "You got her legal notice?" she asked smugly. I smiled. "Are you familiar with Google Earth?" She blinked. "I found 3 years' worth of satellite images showing your SUV in my driveway. One of them has a piñata on top." I handed her a printed copy. "Oh, and Rob misspelled physical as psychical. Unless he's suing me with telepathy, you might want to revise." She slammed the door. That night, Ron handed me a USB drive. She wrote an HOA newsletter, he whispered. Claims she created the course to build community. The next morning, I compiled everything. Screenshots, photos, legal letters, newsletter drafts. Labeled the file, "Ongoing Neighborhood Conflict Supporting Documentation." Emailed it to the HOA board. 2 days later, Candace's SUV was towed. Not by me. Her cousin parked behind it, boxed her in, and she panicked, calling City Tow Services. Her registration was expired. Karma in its purest form. She screamed. The neighbors applauded. One kid recorded it all on his phone. I updated hole 3's sign to read, "Obstacle sponsored by Unauthorized Parking LLC. We deliver inconvenience." That weekend, Marvin made the course official. Budget, signage, even volunteers. The HOA newsletter ran a special feature titled, "Turning Conflict into Community." And Candace? She vanished. Literally. Moving trucks came. Boxes were loaded. No bouviers. Just gone. Ron stayed. Helped repaint the signs. He smiled more. Without Candace, Willow Creek bloomed. Kids laughed. Neighbors played. The course became a symbol of what happens when you fight absurdity with absurdity. Hole 9, called Exit Strategy, launched the ball through a mailbox and into a spinning funnel that raised a flag. "Thanks for not parking here." A reporter reached out. A documentary was pitched. I agreed. Max and Jordan started designing Hole 10. In the end, what started as suburban warfare became something else entirely. A community reborn. And at the course entrance, on a carved wooden sign, stand the words that started it all. Candace parked here once, so we made it better.